The rumor coming out at the moment is that, hold on, let me brace myself for it. LA Knight.
Yeah.
Okay. Is supposedly being talked about, and there's been rumors of this for a few months, don't get me wrong, but as becoming the holder of the men's Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, of course, we've touched on it before. It's going to be in London. Very much looking forward to it, and I think it'd be a fantastic moment to see. And I think he fits the mold as far as what I personally like to see in a Money in the Bank winner, which is that kind of, and same as the Royal Rumble, someone who's just about to break into, super hot and exciting, and the fans are really behind him, just about to break into the main event scene. And I think it's a perfect way to do it so many times. And it's a perfect storm, I think, for LA Knight. I would really like to see it. I think it makes sense. And I think if they don't do it, unless they go another direction and it's also absolutely wonderful and we just haven't thought of it yet, I think they'd be kind of really putting themselves at risk at kind of getting a bit of backlash, no pun intended, as far as PLEs go, against the decision, really. So that's the big rumor at the moment. Of course, when these things come out, a lot of these websites end up saying plans change. That's true. That can happen. Card subject to change as well. So definitely is the case with behind the scenes conversation. So it might not happen, but hey, when a rumor come out, I think a lot of us have kind of gone towards it because it does seem somewhat realistic. So, Dan, what are you thinking? I know we've already discussed a little bit about possibly another person grabbing at a briefcase in London, but what do you think about LA Knight potentially being the one to get his hands on it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I think, you know, he's got that kind of arrogance about him as a villain that you would kind of want to go after, like your babyface champion, like a Cody Rhodes, for example, if it was Cody to obviously hold the title. I think with someone like an LA Knight, I think he would be one of those where, a bit like Theory, where you're thinking, yeah, he might not be successful with the cash in. Whereas I think a bigger name, so like if it was, say, like a Cody, a Drew, a Seth, for example, you would probably, I'd say 99% be like, yeah, that'll be a successful cash in. Like the title's going to change when they cash in. Whereas I think, yeah, Knight fits into that kind of category when obviously the Corbins, the Sandows, that kind of stuff, where you're thinking, yeah, I don't think he's going to come out of it as champion. But I think since he's come up to the main roster from NXT and then obviously dropped the Maximum Male Model stuff, I think he's definitely producing some really good stuff. Like he's just showing like how good he was, obviously back in the TNA days when he was Eli Drake and stuff, you know, and just how good and how charismatic he is on the mic. So I think, you know, give him an opportunity. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, as I say, in the draft as well. Like, you know, he could have a good run with maybe like a US title if he was moved to Raw. You know, potentially, well, I guess he wouldn't. It's weird to think all three of your main male champions are heels. So, yeah, you know, you couldn't obviously have him face Roman because he's a bit heel and heel. You couldn't have him face Gunther, heel and heel, and you couldn't have him face Theory because it's heel and heel. It's like, you know,
unless he does turn babyface, he's naturally going that way anyway. As far as he's the cool heel that people like to cheer, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there's a few names that I'd kind of like to see for Money in the Bank this year. Drew being one, Cody obviously, Knight. Do you know
Cody would annoy me because he's just had his opportunity. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, I think the other one as well, Xavier Woods. I think
he's been stepping up lately. King of the Ring, they gave that to him, but then doesn't seem likely to rub.
Yeah, you don't want him to go backwards, but there we go.
Hey, nice.
Hey.
Nice. Rob, I hope you haven't got any terrible puns, but what do you think as far as LA Knight's claim to the Money in the Bank?
I'm for it, man. Like I mean, how many times do we have to go before we start realizing that we love LA Knight? Like he's like Austin and Rock combined of this generation for what he's doing, and the fact that he's 40 now, like, or in his 40s, it's mind-boggling that he's not had that. It's mind-boggling that he hasn't had his moment yet. Do you know what I mean? He done that stuff, and then he done the awful stuff with what was it called? with Mace and
Maximum.
when
Yeah,
Marseille. Marseille and Mansoir
had potential,
I'm
but just not where we wanted to see LA Knight. I think he was good in that role, but
it doesn't even.
Yeah, because I think they're doing good at the moment. I think what they're doing is good now. Like the Otis stuff, and I think it is quite good. I just think when you've got LA Knight and Eli Drake, whatever you want to call him, you use him as that version of the character.
Yeah,
you don't give him that silly kind of thing again, especially at this age, part of his career as well. Like,
it's as you said, he's one of those guys that's you have a moment when you see him and you go, they're about to blow like that. The rocket's on them. You've just ignite it. Just let them go.
But then at the same time, like they didn't even use him at Mania. Like what the heck?
I know. And if people are watching like live or on demand, go back and watch what we said because we moaned so much, and we said it on night one. We was like, okay, it's got to be
tomorrow. Then
it's got to be night two. It's got to be night two. He has to do something with the Miz and Austin or something like that. We fantasy booked it. He sounded amazing.
Nothing.
So like, and then he on the Friday he was in the Andre Memorial Battle. Got it right again. And he got thrown out, and then the crowd booed. Like,
it was crazy. Like, it was like that was such a sign. Exactly, that was such a sign. It was like, I can't believe they've done that. But then it was like, oh, they've done that because they know. They know, and if they don't know, they will find out now from these fans. And then they still did nothing with it. So that is kind of going against this kind of rumor for me. That what do you mean they're going to suddenly start pushing him? I don't know, man.
I think what I think will be is, let's say he does win it, he will become babyface and run as Money in the Bank, but he'll do it the heelish tactics to win it. So I think all the way up to the moment of his cash in, he'll be the heel. And then the minute he cashes in his babyface, he'll be like the Dolph Ziggler syndrome of the Money in the Bank. Like, he's such a heel, and then all of a sudden he cashed in, and the crowd went bananas. And I mean, were both of you lucky enough to be in attendance? Yeah. So and I think it'll be that sort of pop. And if that is the case, the heel, whoever it is that's a champion, has to be a heel. It can't be Cody because it'll give the opposite reaction. So it has to be. If it's going to be someone, I mean. Do you want to say Roman?
No, I don't. I was thinking this earlier. If the Money in the Bank briefcase being cashed in should not be successful on Roman, like not at no way, unless it's planned like a John Cena RVD situation, like where they say I'm cashing in on this day. It should definitely not be that, because it's a different moment. It's two different things, and it will kind of it will give a reason as to why no one could do it, but this person could do it because they did it by surprise. Don't get me wrong, it gives you that, but it takes away so much as well at the same time. Like it should be its own exciting thing, Maybe it should be flirted within Roman Reigns, but it shouldn't be successful unless it's planned and straight up. I'm doing it on this day, and it's an actual match. Because I think that shouldn't take away from the story we've had. Go on.
I think the last, who is it? So we had Theory and then the Miz, and the only reason that Miz had it was because of the Otis stuff, right? Or did I miss someone?
Who was the last one? Was Austin Theory?
Austin Theory.
Yeah.
And then before that was the Miz, right?
It was the Miz,
obviously he won it with Otis, and he cashed in on Bobby Lashley, I believe. Was it Lashley?
Let me have a quick look. Yeah,
I forgot all that mess. Oh, I like seeing Miz as WWE champ, but you've made me small there.
So we had Austin Theory won it, and then the year before Austin Theory was actually Big E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't even remember Big E winning it.
Big E won it the same year as Nikki ASH, and then it was the year before that, the 2021, which was when Otis. So
who did Big E cash in on?
Oh yeah, that was
Big E was when he cashed in on Bobby Lashley, I want to say, to win the title.
Yeah, he won it that way, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how Big E won it. Yeah, and then the year before that was the Otis and Miz stuff, and then the year before that was the Brock Lesnar.
And that's another thing as well. I think there's some rebuilding to do with Money in the Bank for me. So
it's had a stain on it for a while now, hasn't it? I mean, the last one with Theory was absolutely a mess.
Yeah.
Then Big E had it fine, but it was still messy. It was still COVID-y around that time. And then Nikki Ash had it.
Got to play it right.
Bro, the thing is as well, and I think it comes into everything that we say, and whether it's Money in the Bank, whether it's King of the Ring, if it's the a memorial battle royal, wherever it is, if you are being given an opportunity to shine, and if you're branding it as it's an important thing, make it important. Because if you're not going to make it important, just don't do it, because it rubs everyone the wrong way, and then they don't care. Because we were talking about King of the Ring on the last podcast, and I was like, well, unless they're going to do it properly, I'm not really bothered.
Yeah.
Because when was the last time that the King of the Ring actually meant something? Because
you don't want Money in the Bank going that way as well, you know.
And
the same
I feel
with
it's
all
going to
these
go that way.
PLEs that were themed like Hell in a Cell's the reason why they've got rid of them now. So Money in the Bank's still got a lot of life in it. Don't get me wrong. Before it gets ruined, it's not been that bad, but yeah,
But it could potentially go that way if they don't fix up properly.
And on the other side as well, LA Knight needs something big soon. Whether that is a kind of secondary title or even going for the main one, or win the Money in the Bank. I think we're all in agreement that now is the time to cash in, no pun intended, on LA Knight's kind of hype and things like that as well.
In terms of LA Knight and Money in the Bank, I'm down for that. I think they like doing these things where someone misses out on something and they kind of pay them, get them back, you know, like later down the line. And I think obviously him and Lashley as well, not being part of WrestleMania, was just a complete oversight and something which, you know, people were saying about Vince McMahon, but this was wholly on Triple H, that booking decision to remove all that stuff of Bray Wyatt. Just don't get anyone involved with Bray Wyatt. That's what happens, you know. You know, he does promos for 3 months that no one can understand, talking absolute nonsense, has a match no one can see, and disappears. And obviously, you know, nowhere to be seen now.
He's not wrong.
And obviously taking down, obviously, the good work that LA Knight's done. I don't know whether I'd have him as a babyface now, though. I think...
Yeah.
But it's tricky because I don't think they're going to give him Money in the Bank, though. You know, I think that... You remember, he's 40, isn't he? Money in the Bank used to go to someone younger, in my opinion. So, yeah, maybe he'd do it. Maybe he won't.
And also, he's kind of pointing about LA Knight being kind of, you know, around 40, and is it too late? Should it be a younger guy? I think LA Knight fits the profile in every way except for his age. And maybe for me, this is the way to fast track that kind of, there you go, now you're in the main event. Like, it kind of almost adds to my point of why you should do it. But I can understand the opposite side of it from Lucas there as well.